Sam Altman just admitted something that should make every software engineer nervous. He said OpenAI is slowing down hiring, not because business is bad, because AI is getting so good. They simply don't need as many humans anymore. And that's just the beginning of what came out of this private developer event. Here's why this matters to you. Whether you're a programmer, a student, or someone just trying to figure out what the future looks like, the next 18 months are about to reshape everything. The way we work, the way we learn, even the way we think about what skills actually matter. And buried in this conversation were warnings that most people completely missed. Let's start with the bombshell about software engineering. When asked if AI would reduce demand for programmers, Altman didn't sugarcoat it. He said the job is going to super change. Those were his exact words. Not evolve, not adapt, super change. But here's what nobody noticed. He said by the end of this year, for just $100 to $1,000 in AI costs, you'll be able to create software that would have taken entire teams an entire year to build. That's not a decade from now. Think about that for a second. $1,000. One person. Software that used to require a team working for 12 months. And this changes everything about how companies think about hiring. Altman revealed that OpenAI is dramatically slowing how quickly they grow their workforce. He said they expect to do so much more with fewer people, and he warned other companies to do the same. His exact advice was, don't hire aggressively, then suddenly realize AI can do most of the work and have some very uncomfortable conversation with your employees. That uncomfortable conversation is coming for a lot of companies this year. But here's where things get interesting. Altman also admitted something about his own behavior that reveals how seductive these tools really are. When he first started using Codex, OpenAI's coding agent, he told himself he would never give it complete unsupervised access to his computer. He was absolutely confident about this. He lasted 2 hours. That's it. 2 hours before he turned on full access and never turned it off. And he's not alone. He said everyone at OpenAI has done the same thing. The convenience is just too powerful to resist. Now, why does this matter? Because Altman then explained his biggest fear. He said people are going to get comfortable trusting AI at a certain capability level. Then the models will get dramatically more powerful and harder to understand. Because we already trust them, we'll sleepwalk into giving them even more access without building proper security systems. His exact words were, "We will sleepwalk into something." And it gets darker. When asked about biosecurity, Altman said something that should make headlines. He said if something goes really wrong with AI this year, visibly really wrong, bio would be a reasonable bet for what that could be. He's talking about bioterrorism. He said AI models are already quite good at biology, and the current strategy of trying to block dangerous outputs isn't going to work much longer. His solution? The world needs to shift from blocking to resilience. He compared it to fire. Centuries ago, cities kept burning down. We tried to restrict fire. It didn't work. Eventually, we developed fire codes, flame-resistant materials, and better infrastructure. He said we need to do the same thing with AI, because the models are coming whether we're ready or not. Now let me tell you about the future Altman sees for software itself. He said he no longer thinks of software as something static. If he has a small problem, he expects his computer to write custom code immediately to solve it. No downloading apps, no searching for tools, just instant personalized software. He predicted that operating systems will fundamentally change. We'll all have software that's constantly evolving and customizing itself just for us. The way you use your computer will be different from the way I use mine. And our tools will adapt to match. And here's the mid-video hook you need to hear. Altman revealed something about GPT-5 that explains a lot of complaints you might have seen online. He admitted they screwed up. Those were his words. He said GPT-5's writing quality dropped compared to GPT 4.5 because they focused too much on reasoning and coding. They had limited bandwidth and they chose to prioritize intelligence over writing quality. But he promised future versions will fix this. He said intelligence is surprisingly fungible, meaning if they can make a model smarter at one thing, they can make it smarter at everything. And speaking of smarter, here's the timeline he gave for cost reductions. By the end of 2027, he expects GPT 5.2 level intelligence to cost at least 100 times less than it does today, 100 times cheaper in about 2 years. But there's another dimension OpenAI hasn't focused on until now. Speed. He said more developers are pushing for faster outputs, not just cheaper ones. Some people want the exact same result, but in 1/100th of the time, even if it costs more. And OpenAI has to figure out how to balance these two very different demands. Now let's talk about what this means for education and skills. A student asked Altman what skills matter most in the age of AI. His answer was surprising. He didn't say learn to code. He didn't mention any technical skill. Instead, he listed soft skills, high agency, generating good ideas, resilience, adaptability. He said these matter more than any specific hard skill right now. And here's the encouraging part. He said these are all learnable. He's seen people transform in 3-month bootcamp-style programs. People can become formidable on all these axes faster than you'd expect. But on education itself, he had a more cautious view. He said he'd keep computers out of kindergarten entirely. He thinks young children should be running around outside, playing with physical things, learning to interact with each other. He mentioned that technology's impact on young children might be even worse than social media's impact on teenagers. And we're still not talking about it enough. For older students, though, he compared AI to Google. When Google came out, teachers tried to ban it. They thought if kids could look anything up, why would they learn? Altman thought that was insane then, and he thinks banning AI tools is insane now. The teaching methods need to change, not the tools. And here's how this all ends. Altman painted two possible futures for companies. In one, humans work alongside AI coworkers, becoming dramatically more productive. In the other, the companies that win are entirely AI. Just racks of GPUs, no people at all. He said he really hopes it's the first one. But he warned that if companies don't adopt AI aggressively right now, they will eventually be outcompeted by fully AI companies that don't have silly internal policies slowing them down. But there's one more thing Altman revealed that shows just how far this is going. He said he's now ready for ChatGPT to look at his entire computer, his whole internet history, everything. He wants AI to have a perfect representation of his digital life, and he believes most users will eventually want the same thing. The convenience is just too powerful to resist. He even talked about building what he called a Paul Graham bot, an AI that could be the ultimate brainstorming partner, something that looks at all your past work, all your code, all your projects, and continuously suggests new ideas. Even if 95 out of 100 suggestions are bad, those 5 good ones could change everything. And here's the part that stuck with me. He compared the current moment to a brief period in chess history. After Deep Blue beat Kasparov, there was a window where human plus AI was better than AI alone. The human would pick the best move from 10 options the machine generated. That's the choice facing every business this year. Adapt fast or get replaced by something that doesn't need humans at all. And that future? It's not decades away. According to Sam Altman, it's already beginning. The question is whether you'll be ready when it arrives, or whether you'll be one of the people who sleepwalked right into it. Share your thoughts in the comments, and if this was useful, like the video and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.